Well, hello, this is John Yates, and I chair the technology group at the law firm of Morris, Manning, and Martin. And I'm also involved with the MMM Tech Law and Business Report. And I'm very pleased today to have with me Kevin Bandy, who is the President and Chief Strategy Officer at Simetric. And Kevin, it's good to see you.
Very good to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Kevin, let's start out. Simetric's a very interesting company. Give us a mission statement, the elevator pitch for the company, please.
So if you look at Simetric is a IoT platform. What is unique about it is there are over 600 competitive proprietary platforms in the world today. And when you think about roughly 35 billion devices that are connecting, roughly about 8 billion of those, John, have no standard. So think about a third of the connectivity out there has no standard because it's proprietary. What Simetric enables the customer to do is to take control of immediate visibility across all of the globe, across all those proprietary platforms in less than a few minutes. So imagine going from blind to the visibility of millions of devices all under one management pane. It gives you a lot of control.
Very, very interesting. What about the differentiation, Kevin? I know that as a Chief Strategy Officer, you probably focus a lot on that, but what is the key differentiation of Simetric from competitors?
When you look at the key differentiation, when I talk about that control and that visibility, what you'll find oftentimes, John, in IoT is people don't realize the magnitude of what they're investing. They've automated things, but they don't understand the magnitude of their investment. And I don't think I've come across a customer yet that doesn't have an IoT budget in procurement, an IoT budget in IT. Oftentimes there's an IoT element by business unit. And what a key differentiation is when we create that visibility, we're driving out about 50% of total IoT operational cost in a matter of 30 days. We literally are exposing the redundancy in the matter of days. And most companies are not, in this time of digitization and work from home, people aren't trying to save that money. They're trying to invest with actual certainty and predictability. So I would tell you the differentiation is twofold. On one half is it's finding the value of money that's trapped inside the business. But the visibility that we create gives you fact-based insight to how you invest that more accurately. So finding 50% of your budget to invest in changing your business is a great management asset.
Very interesting. So how has COVID-19 impacted the business? And also, how has it impacted your customer base as well, Kevin?
I think COVID has accelerated. I come from being the chief digital officer at Cisco. So we ran roughly about 1 million minutes a week of video conferencing. We would do all of our employee all hands around the globe, 13,000 managers and above. We would do it all through video. Everybody does that today. But if you understand the difference is that has accelerated the ubiquitous nature of networking by about 5 years. So what many at Cisco and then the Silicon Valley believed was possible about redistributing work, it's been done equally to every single industry. So now when we talk about every company becoming a technology company, guess what they have? But what COVID has done, John, is the threat landscape of devices that are touching the enterprise network is up about 80%. So not only network traffic is up, but now the number of devices that are touching enterprise networks is up over 80% because the threat landscape and what is being attached through work is dramatically increased. What Simetric is enabling a CIO or any network administrator to do is register every one of those devices and actually control the threat landscape, but actually enable a much more efficient distributed workforce.
So with COVID-19, it sounds like that distributed workforce has become ultra distributed and will continue in that mode. Do you see as a result of that the continuing growth of Simetric, and do you see the nature of your customer changing as a result of that, as frankly there are more and more IoT products, solutions, problems that are existing out there as a result of this remote workforce environment?
The inherent in what you just said is sort of like, you think about IoT in two phases. So in the first phase of IoT, it was all about the possibility of connecting things. And there's been some events in the past where everybody becomes very aware of it. I think everybody's become aware of Target's initial big proprietary breach where they came in through the HVAC units. Then they actually sat within the refrigeration before they stole $500 million. What most people don't realize, if I go back to those 35 billion connected devices, ISP devices, SIMs, are sitting in almost everything today as a means to control that automation with a threat capacity. But the other thing that you said inherently about what the world is learning, John, is business process automation will take place in those devices, not just with employees anymore. And that's what COVID has really taught people is, I'm not just going to automate work or make it ubiquitously dispersed. I'm now going to begin to manage all those devices just the same way as I would the employees in a continuous business process refinement capacity, because there is a unique IMEI identifier at every product, but there's also implied a unique business process automation capability at every single device. And Simetric creates that visibility to not only effectively automate, but to continuously refine the business process automation of business function at the device level.
Very interesting. So Kevin, let me ask you a follow-up question. You've worked for some big companies, Cisco and others companies that have a unique culture. And Simetric is obviously smaller than Cisco, but a very dynamic growing business. How do you see the differences in the two, and especially when it comes to the notion of big versus entrepreneurial, building a culture in innovation? Is there a substantial difference? And in particular, when we think about technology advances for a fast-moving company like Simetric, is it just easier to move down the path and come up with more innovation?
I think it's easier for a startup. Let me tell you where I see Simetric. And this is where I became so passionately involved, and actually you all have contributed greatly towards our innovation. So let me just first and foremost tell you thank you for, you not only supported us, but you've been right there at the table as a sounding board with us because of your other experiences. So first and foremost, a little shout out to you all.
Thank you.
If I go back to my past company as Cisco or Accenture or others, you can almost become beholden to the individual products, and you become obsessed with the elements of product management. But if you look at IoT and you talk about your previous question about, is there, what have we learned? And as a result of COVID, and I said, we're moving more and more towards business process automation. IoT management, meaning all those devices are now going to be managed through a PaaS or a software as a service solution, which means all those devices are expected to grow to about $33 billion a year in managed SLAs in the next 3 to 4 years. Today, they're sold. But because people now realize, wait a minute, I can automate the business process at those, I'm going to subscribe to those. Go back to the early days when people contested software as a service from Salesforce. They didn't realize it was business process automation. They didn't realize it was continuous ingestion of innovation. What Simetric is able to do is to actually flip from the traditional likes of a Cisco or big company where product management becomes the discipline and they sell that innovation to a customer, but we actually don't require a customer to change any of their decisions, John. So we're actually coming in over the top of already decided decisions in technology and empowering the customer to take advantage of all of that process automation. And we see that because the customer oftentimes has mistakenly asked others to oversee their digital transformation, but because of your COVID question, they now realize, wait a minute, I have to be in control of my digital transformation.
Right.
That is single-handedly the biggest awakening that I see in every customer of every size today. Find the waste in my business because I am responsible for my own digital transformation, which means my sustainability. Help me constantly harvest the waste in my technical efforts and reinvest it.
It must be a fascinating role to be in now as a chief strategy officer for the company, Kevin, especially in light of your background, and it's exciting for the company. thank you again and your colleagues for continuing to be innovators in this area. Sounds like that the remainder of 2020 and 2021, despite us all dealing with the pandemic, you're going to create some very interesting challenges and opportunities for the company, and we're excited for you. So keep up the good work, and we're excited also the fact that you are in Atlanta and in the United States and doing these kinds of things to help to foster and promote our technology solutions here.
Well, thank you for the partnership, and yes, 2020 and 2021 are going to be an enormous ride for us. We're excited.
That's great. Have a good one. Stay well.
Thanks. Same to you. Be safe.